Let's play.
And welcome to Galactic Goddess Podcast. Today we have a very special guest, Miss Susan Hassen, and she is a quantum sphere healer, an emotional counselor, author, activist, and a Juris Doctor. She runs an incredible blog called Cosmic Artress, which I'll post below. And she's an incredible healer, and I'll also post that below because you got to book a session with her. Anyways, welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to do this episode. This is such a cool episode, you guys.
I know we're going to talk all about Starseeds, and we
Yes.
were having a funny conversation earlier about Starseeds and how being a Starseed can be such an awkward experience.
Yeah.
Being a human and then being a Starseed, because you're like trying to pretend like you're a human and be human, but you have like a lot of weird quirks.
Yeah. That all came through just to get us here right now. So
exactly. Yeah. So Susan, you know, in the work that you do, you meet a lot of really interesting people, and you work with a lot of starseeds, in fact. And I would just love to hear your description of what a starseed is.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I feel like people are drawn to my work because they're picking up on this like starseed energy connection, and so they're drawn to when they, because I do quantum sphere healing. I mean, just that name, it's like, whoa, what is that? My work takes place in the quantum, and so just that definitely activates people's remembrance that they're multidimensional, right? So those kinds of people could find my work and they're like, hey, I want to know about my starseed roots. That comes up, and we'll talk about that. But you know, it's like, hey, I know I'm multidimensional. Let's do healing on this higher level, right? So with that said, let's talk about starseeds. I'm sure many of you listening are starseeds, or you've heard the word, or you're curious. And so starseed really is just an individual who originates from another galaxy, dimension, faraway star system, solar system, planet, you name it, from the stars. And so star, right, galactic, but seed. We are seeded with light, with higher consciousness, higher frequencies. And so we come to Earth to plant that seed into the planet, to really bring in the higher dimensions, seed that into the planet, but bring in our light, because we are here on these missions, right? And to activate others and to assist the planet in ascension and its evolution. So, you know, so I really resonated with that. It's like we have the higher realms really built in with us into our DNA, and definitely here to assist. And so what's very unique about a starseed is, though, like, we are very mixed. We come from different star systems. So we might hear things like, I am Pleiadian, or I am Sirian, I am Arcturian, and we really are a mix of so many, and that's encoded in our DNA. And I've come across information that says, you know, and I've seen this in sessions where we've also had many lives here as like fairies, as earth angels, as ETs, and so we remember that's with us. So our DNA is just loaded.
It's locked and loaded and ready to go.
Exactly.
I love that about the activation. And I think you were saying earlier, like, we all activate at different times.
Yes. So that's really cool. And so what's exciting about talking about this is that this could be an activation for people right now. We're activated. We have an internal alarm clock that's been programmed in us, because we're here as volunteers, okay, starseeds, like, we're here to get shit done.
That's right.
And so the alarm clock can go off at any point in the journey. Some kids, like, are born, and I've seen this in my sessions, the veil is fully off. They're fully like, I don't belong here. I see their memories just being imprinted in them instantly, like, get me off this planet. I'm a foreigner on this planet. But talking about the alarm clock, right? So I know for me, it wasn't until like my 20s where this thing came off, and it's like, get off this legal track you're on, because you're going to be a healer. But I'm talking about this clock, this awakening can go off in people like in their 70s, you know? So their whole mission was to be incognito as a human for a certain amount of time, till your alarm clock, your activation, your starseed time is here, and it's ready to, because we're doing light work when we're still asleep even, you know. We haven't awakened to like the mission mode, right? And so you know, sometimes well, a popular theory is that the number 1111 is associated with the Starseed awakening, because it's like, hello, reminder,
Wake up.
you're not from here. Yeah, wake up. And so sometimes, like in the matrix that we're in, we kind of get mixed up in the movie, and we kind of forget that this is our like true reality. So when I see 1111, I'm like, whoa, when it snaps me out of, say I'm having a petty argument in here, or just like I'm too much in the story, it's like, hey, you know, you're here to be love, to be the higher realms in form, and to do that light work. And so you know, specifically with my story, I had you know, my spiritual awakening happened where I woke up to really like the darkness of the reality. And I knew about like negative ETs, and I was just like, we're in a matrix and there's fluoride and we're being attacked by the government. Like that was my awakening. And then it became more spiritual. And, you know, I found shamanism and eventually quantum sphere healing, but I don't feel like I still had my true like Starseed awakening. I felt like I'm here to just to, you know, to be a healer, well, not just to be a healer, but you know, to assist, right, to help people, to be of service, which, you know, many stars are in many different ways, not just if you're like an energy healer. Teacher is just someone who's kind, honestly. But with that said, I was like, what's Starseed? Like, am I an ET? Like, I didn't really know. I've always definitely felt like one, you know, that I don't belong here. And, you know, this is part of the Starseed profile as kids, like people who are super into like outer space and they love Star Wars, or they love space things. And I had like, like a space mural on my wall as a kid. And my mom, I wanted to be an astronaut when I was 8 years old. My mom, I was obsessed with the sky. And like, I would just like, you know, you retreat a lot too. And I know I'd crawl like under my bed, and I had like these stickers that glow in the dark. And I'd just be like, I'm in space. So like, I didn't really know, but like I knew, you know, as a kid, you're like, I'm from the stars. That's part of it. It's the Starseed profile is longing for your true home. We know Earth isn't our true home. So, you know, as a child, that was definitely there. But I had another energy worker I had talked to, who actually was like, my guides told her that I was from Sirius, that I'm Sirian Starseed. And first of all, that straight up resonated me, just because the ancestral family lineage that I incarnated to is from Syria. So Syrian in the earth realm. So I thought that's hilarious, because we pick our ancestral lines to heal, you know, to come in. And so lots of like religious programming and cultural programming, we're coming in to heal, right? But resonated with Sirius, it being a water planet. I always thought I was a mermaid. I was obsessed with dolphins as a kid. Dolphins definitely are ETs from Sirius. I'll tell you that now. But you know, little things were adding up over my life. And so it's just really funny. And then I did a journey like within the quantum tracks that I listened to, and I said, show me Sirius. And I was totally immersed in this water planet. And I saw some stuff. And so I could see where those roots are. But I want to tell you guys that like, we're a mix of all the races. Okay. So Pleiadian, Sirian, what other galaxy that we don't even, we don't, Arcturian, we don't, Orion, we don't even know yet. You know, we've got dark and light races that have mixed with our DNA. Okay.
Trillions.
So, yeah, exactly. We've got that, you know, so our DNA as a human race is definitely manufactured. We've got that ET DNA. So, so, you know, this is part of just like the background of like celestial roots, the aspect. We're all so cosmic. And so that alarm clock we talked about, that goes off, people awakening. This might be triggering people to awaken to their celestial roots. But I think it's really important, because within this matrix that we're in, we've been told we're slaves. We're just humans. We're nothing, you know, and it's like, only a certain group with knowledge know this, right? And they run the world. No, we're all these magical, multidimensional beings. So let's all activate, because we're all from somewhere. We're not native.
So beautiful. Yeah. We're all hybrids. And that's what I always think. We're all hybrids. I think of myself as a hybrid. And, you know, I've had many past life regressions, and I've been from many planets. You know, Earth is not my origin. even in a session I did with you, we
Yes.
explored do you remember that session or what you found about where I was from? Pleiades, right?
Yeah, Pleiades and strong links to Arcturians. And
Mm-hmm.
people do get interacted with star family. So if you've had sort of any sort of like Arcturian interactions, usually I
Mm-hmm.
think that your race is gonna
Mm-hmm.
interact with you more.
Mm-hmm.
Different things like that, because people have different like soul contracts and
It's
ways of
true.
like interacting with star family.
Yeah.
We can definitely do a whole thing on that.
It's really exciting. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
definitely had interactions with Arcturians, and I've had arguments with Pleiadians. I was like, I've had full on arguments, and I'm like, leave now. And then I
Right.
take off, and I was like telling them off. I'm like, yeah, you guys. I mean, we'll do another
For sure.
podcast about that, but it's funny to have arguments with them, right?
Oh yeah. I see that sounds a little bit more fun. Mine,
Yeah.
because in my sessions I'm clearing any of the negative ET attachments,
Mm-hmm.
implants, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
So early on in the work, I was being visited by more of the negative forms, because they're like, who's this person messing with our
honey.
person, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
we've interesting stories. I know you've got a lot too.
I
So
I want to talk about some of those, but guys, understand
yeah.
that just like the human race, like we have, people who are of positive mindset that really want to bring more light into the world. It doesn't mean they're perfect. Nobody's perfect. And then we also have, the negative who actually enjoy bringing harm, like benevolent and malevolent.
Yeah.
Again, like no one's perfect. Humans aren't perfect. ETs aren't perfect. Like everyone has their little glitches. And that's really why the end game is to go into oneness, because we can all take our specific skill sets and harmonize them if we could raise our vibration to do so, rather than there's no need for the old way where people are, or even like ETs are stealing from us or we're stealing from them, which goes on a lot. There's a lot of stuff that goes on, and our hope is really to overcome these galactic wars that have been going on for eons of time, because it's not just a movie. This is really going on. Is we've been having galactic wars and infiltration of dark what I call like viruses, where this dark virus energy comes in and it infiltrates galaxies, universes, planets, and it takes over, and it has to also do with AI. We won't go too deep down that rabbit hole because that's a whole other story. But there's just so much that we need to understand, and the first step is understanding that we are much more multidimensional than we even think we are, opening up to the possibility that this isn't the only one planet in the entire universe's multiverses, right?
Right. I know I don't want to go too off track, but I want to echo what you said with, as above, so below. A lot these galactic wars, like Star Wars, that shit's real. The ET races, the different ones that show up in those films. But one thing to say too is like below here, think of like we're working out the fragmentation and form as well. And look at the way humans can't even like get along, and look at warfare and separation that's going on in the cosmos as well with these different races. So another thing is like us who have volunteered to come to Earth, we're the brave, crazy ones. So other ETs and other planets are actually watching us. We're helping them evolve. When Earth ascends, the universe ascends. Other planets, other star systems. And so I want to say this because people look to other ETs like, come save us on your ship. You're more superior than me. Don't leave, like, awaken, leave religion, and then worship ETs, you guys. You know, like we're the heroes. We're the ones. We're the beacons of light who are here working for the universe. So, Take pride in that.
You know, I just have to interject here because that's the argument that I had with the Pleiadians. I was like, you guys are so lame. And I'm sorry, but I was just like, this is our intimate argument. And because they were following me home from Mount Shasta. And I was like, oh yeah, you're just like following me in your little spaceship. And I was just like, oh yeah, you just have everything magically in your ship. I was like, try being part of the ground crew. I was like, you wouldn't last a day. I was like, your fragileness would just, you'd fall into pieces. Like, I was like, our human life and our human emotions, and that's what makes us so powerful, you guys, is that as these, you know, galactic humans, we have these emotions, and they're the most powerful thing in the entire universe. And so many ETs are envious of us, you know. They're cross breeding with us and creating new hybrids because they are trying to create beings that have some of our emotion, because our emotion has been manipulated so much in such a negative way. We create events, so we can create negative events collectively. And that really has to do with the programming of the films that we watch. And if we all start to simulate at the same time the same program, we actually manifest that in a 3D reality. And so we have to understand that it is our responsibility as a very emotional galactic being that we manifest with our emotions. And that is the big secret, and that's a big lie. Is that, you know, we're just these helpless, pathetic beings who are at the mercy of all of this stuff going on in the world, when in fact we are so much more powerful, that even all of these ETs are here to watch us, because we're at the verge and the precipice of change that could take us to a quantum level, you know. And we're actually the stars of the show. Like, we're the favorite YouTube channel. We are the YouTube for the ETs. They just sit there and watch us. And that's why I had that little argument. I was like telling them off, like, you guys wouldn't last a day. And I'm like, all you do is just sit there, and like, we're doing all the work here. And we had a little argument there, and they scuffled off, and I'm like, yeah, bye.
I mean, I've never had an argument like that with any sort of race. So I'm fascinated. I'm like, yeah, what happened next?
Well, they got their little Pleiadian feelings hurt. But, you know, they forgive me. They know that I'm sassy, and I'm also very strong-willed and strong-minded. And that's what makes me really a very strong woman too. And that's what makes us, the humans, very strong, is that we have the ability to create our reality. So we need to realign to the reality we want to create, right?
For sure. And I think that that's sort of part of a Starseed mission, because part of being the Starseed is we have this like innate mission mode. You know, a lot of us are here to be of service, and that could be so many things. So you know, people on Instagram who run these huge consciousness pages, you know, to spread awareness, right? Or not someone with a bunch of followers, just you in your own life, you know, talking about this stuff, not staying hidden as Starseed, Indigo, light worker, however you want to identify. Being someone who's kind, you know, who listens, empaths, you know, or that's sort of the Starseed profile, being very sensitive to energy, identifying as an empath. So, you know, being of service, to plant light, to awaken others. So that's sort of like, if you're wondering, am I a Starseed? Well, like, if you are drawn to consciousness, higher vibrations and frequencies in any way, then yes, that's you know, something that's a major part of it. And this like mode, I am on mission mode, you know. A lot of us, when we have the alarm clock go off, it's like, okay, what do I do? And so it's like, I'm gonna be an advocate, say, against like GMOs or something in the matrix, but also I'm gonna promote inner child work, emotional healing, self-love. So many different ways your light is needed. And it's really part of the Starseed journey, why it's so hard, and why many fall into like depression in life, is because they know they have a purpose, but they don't know what it is, right? It's this like existential angst, like, what am I here to do? I'm here for more, you know. And when you're in like a 9 to 5, or you're in something, a work situation, that you feel is killing your soul, that's
Mm-hmm.
actually part of your awakening process, to be like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to change. I want to go
Mm-hmm.
into what I'm here to do. You see, so
Yeah, and
that's a big
that
one.
is important. I think, yeah, so guys, take that in, because what she said
Mm-hmm.
was so right on, where when we feel that like angst, that like, oh, it's a pure energy that we were planted with. We came here with that energy. And that energy can also, and I just need to put the disclaimer, can also go back to creating more darkness. Because
Yeah, yeah,
if you don't harness that energy, and that was very much I think, I was just writing about that earlier, about the dark agenda and moving, and how I got
yeah. Mm-hmm.
involved in that, and how that angst can go in that direction, and how you have to pull the reins back and say, no, you know what, I'm not here to serve that purpose. Like, I have a
Right.
higher purpose. It's easy to get entangled, especially when you're so empathic, you're so sensitive, and you're almost like this sponge, and you're looking for that guidance, you're looking for acceptance, right? And so the darkness will always be like, you're welcome here, and like, come join us, and you feel accepted by all that. And I always talk about light and dark, because I think both are very important and part of the
Yes.
integration process. There's no way I'm just like excluding that. I've definitely dove into the dark so that I can bring it back and integrate. But I'm just saying that because I see a lot of star seeds that just jump into the dark, or they want to join like satanic cults, and it's so trendy to be satanic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing that all over Instagram, and I'm like, well, actually, it's not cool to be satanic, because
Right.
if you're like a vegan satanic, guess what? Depending on how far you go, you're going to end up drinking blood. And if you're okay with sacrificing children and drinking blood and killing animals, and you're still a quote unquote a vegan, it's really a conflict of interest. At the
Right.
end of the day, you're not going to feel good about yourself. You're going to want to really, truly do damage to yourself, because of the damage that you have allowed to happen to you, and that you allowed to happen to others. So no.
Absolutely. Don't that need of not feeling accepted is
Mm-hmm.
huge in Starseeds. Not
Yeah.
having like your tribe with you, because
Mm-hmm.
our tribe is really celestial, our star family. And so a lot of Starseeds join, some don't know, are
Mm-hmm.
in cults. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of spiritual groups, when people want to make their own communities, they end up like
Mm-hmm.
forming a cult or something.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this lack of belonging, like, where do I
Yeah.
belong? And so those are things to remember with like, um, we kind of get distracted off the mission, because it's like we want
Mm-hmm.
to feel home again. But
Yeah, like love,
yeah, and
accepted.
we don't normally get that in our families, because we're
Mm-hmm.
like the weirdos in the family. So
Mm-hmm.
so the black sheep, or
Yeah.
it's like part of the profile. So
Mm-hmm.
uh there's something to be aware. We can get distracted, because we can like fall, because Earth is crazy, but like can be fun too. There's lots of things here that
Mm-hmm.
are like alluring, and so you can get entangled with something dark, but that might just be your soul contract too, to like
Mm-hmm.
mingle a little bit, to transmute it, because we are here to
That's right.
Starseeds are activators, okay?
We are.
And it's gonna look different for everyone, and the way that you go through your life through integrating dark and light.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny because and a lot of Starseeds have particular talents, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
just like the psychic abilities that many of us have,
Mm-hmm.
the healing gifts. You're a great poet, you're a good writer, actors, actresses, musicians. Like Starseeds
Mm-hmm.
do have so many gifts. It's really cool,
So
and
many.
they're
And
creative.
mm-hmm.
And they're here to unlock them in this lifetime. That's also
Mm-hmm.
part of the journey too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have this, but then
Mm-hmm.
the other big thing here with the Starseed profile is feeling like you don't belong.
Mm-hmm.
An alien, I call it in my sessions. I see this ET phone home syndrome, where you're like, I want to leave. I'm not from here. Where's my star family? Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, I only said that because, I am one of those people that went to the dark side,
mhm,
and came back. And part of my soul contract was to do that, but it inflicted tremendous amount of trauma, tremendous
mhm,
amount of pain, tremendous amount of suffering, and the quote unquote payoff. Well, those were lessons,
yeah,
like I am here to bring forth those lessons, and I'm doing so in my book and sharing that. But but I don't think it's necessary for everyone to have to go through that. I think
Yeah.
I feel like, gosh, guys, we're really at the edge. We're really like at the almost a finish line. I hate to see people just drowning in that energy when they can just say, shit, you know, I'm special and I belong and I'm a starseed,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. That there are a lot of forces though, you know, when you awaken to the matrix and these
Mm-hmm.
other dark forces, they awaken to you too. So there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of interference, you know, we have to be aware of that. I'm someone who kind of also came from awakening to this place is dark,
Mm-hmm.
then going way too high in the light where I forgot
Mm-hmm.
that we are targeted for our light. You know,
Yeah.
we're galactic influencers. So
Yeah, that's right.
um, you
Hi.
know, yeah, exactly, right? So it's pretty cool. Um, and you know, when you're in service too, so
Mm-hmm.
high awareness, high discernment, you know, this is
Mm-hmm.
earth is a jungle. It's um
Mm-hmm.
so you know, protecting ourselves, our emotions, our energy is so important too. And one thing about starseeds is we long for this like true home, and so we
Mm-hmm.
have to learn, and I this comes up in a lot of sessions,
Mm-hmm.
finding that true home within the self. And I tell
Mm-hmm.
people you can do this through grounding, you know, through really making your space here, making your, that's what we ground to do. Starseeds have to ground. We are up high, we are out
Yeah.
of body. Anchor your energy and your light. Every time you're grounding, you're dropping more of our coded starseed light, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to the planet.
So
um
beautiful.
and you know, there I like this, like I've known this, and I saw it
Mm-hmm.
echoed when I was doing my starseed research. We have an inner knowing that earth is not our home, you
Mm-hmm.
know, that we're not from
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
here.
Just a
And yeah,
visitor.
yeah, a visitor, you know, or it's not your primary source of identification.
Mm-hmm.
Just know that there is more. And I think that these are the people who promote oneness, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like all these like racists we have in the world, like, don't you just want to slap them and shake them and be like, you're not
Mm-hmm.
even, like, you can't even get race down in human form, right?
I know. Like, open your mind. Do
Like,
you guys want to
you
be
know,
like? Do you guys want the
yeah,
galactic passport or
yeah,
not?
yeah. There's a
That's the
galactic
question. Because
passport.
if you don't graduate here, y'all,
Yeah,
you don't get the galactic passport. You get to, your asses get to stay
yeah.
here for another 26,000 years or however long it needs to be. I'm
Hmm.
like, give me my galactic passport.
Right. And like, if you know, these basic things of like oneness is so important, right? Not that I feel like a lot of starseeds, so they awaken to like oneness in so many different ways. And one thing that's important to talk about too is like, let's not put so much emphasis on which race of starseed you
Mhm.
are. Like, I'm
Yeah.
Canadian, I'm serious. Like,
Yeah.
no, we're all celestial. We're all a mix. So
Yeah.
it's unity is the focus here. And that's why I wanted today for us to really talk about
True.
like the starseed profile, because we're all
Yeah.
cosmic, you know, we're all made of the
That's
good old
true.
star stuff. So what one thing's a good point though, if you are like, well, I don't know if I fit this profile, or I haven't had
Mhm.
my huge awakening yet. Most starseeds live in this walking dream state, sleep state,
Mhm.
right? Where until we talked about this alarm clock going off, and then gifts can activate. You know, I was always empathic and
Mhm.
clairsentient, but my healing gifts didn't come through until my awakening, and I learned how to cultivate it. I had my first
Mhm.
experience in the quantum field.
Mm.
Um, you know, and then this huge awakening happens for people. And it's about remembering who you are. So in my
Mhm.
sessions, my goal is empowering the client, but
Mhm.
getting them to remember who they really are.
Mm.
That comes through in past lives, in what they're healing in their ancestry
Mhm.
line. And so when I see 1111 too, because people ask me about that number,
Mhm.
it tells me like, remember who you are. You know,
Mm.
if I'm angry, if I'm in the heat of something, I'm honoring those emotions for
Mhm.
sure, and I'm integrating them. But I
Mhm.
also know I came here to do that, and I have a true self, and I have my
Mhm.
higher self guiding me. So
Mhm.
we very much as Starseeds are volunteers. I like this
True.
to bring gifts to planet.
Yeah.
Most so healing work, your writing, of course, your work, and new healing modalities. And so I
Mhm.
practice a new healing modality. I'm not the founder of it.
Mhm.
Carla Fox is the founder of Quantum Sphere Healing. She's
I
a
love it.
shaman, but you know, there's few of us who are doing quantum field work, quantum energy work, quantum practitioners, how you want to call it. So mine is specific. It's in the quantum sphere. That's new. And I know part of my mission is to share this work.
Because I never heard about it before you. And like, it's really a unique, incredible healing modality, like powerful.
Yeah.
And it's like, these kind of healing modalities need to come out more so people can understand how they can really help them. Maybe we'll do, a podcast about
for sure
how it can help people.
And what's cool is that like Starseeds are really here on humanitarian missions. So maybe mine comes in the form of what healing modality I practice. So everyone watching, like what's your humanitarian mission, right? Like it's gonna look different and it's gonna be amazing and it's completely valid, whatever that comes through, Are you someone who works with kids, who works with the homeless, or it could be more, are you someone who is in an influential industry like film or music, and are you secretly planting your light in that way? Are you a disruptor in that way? A lot of us Starseeds light workers are incognito. Some aren't, but we're not. We're like, hey, look at us, we're here.
Well, that's true. I think, and a lot of people, I've worked with and met a lot of people in certain bloodlines that were really intense, and they had to go through a lot of initiations and a lot of really like horrifying things. And but they're light workers, they're Starseeds. The reason why we choose our bloodline. So for example, one person came to me and she came from a heavy, I mean, not such a cliche name. How about like a lineage that was a dark lineage? So her purpose as a Starseed was to come and to help clear her bloodline.
Yes.
So, but she had to clear so much trauma. And as she's clearing trauma, she's also doing it for her bloodline. She's shifting the dynamic in that DNA structure and removing a lot of the darkness. But she had to make huge sacrifices. And so I want to tell the Starseeds who have been through so much, and even people that, either they voluntarily get drawn into certain programs, or they are lured into them, whatever that may be. As we talked about, like the dark side, that we go through certain things so that we can bring more light to them.
Yes.
There's no shame in that. There's nothing bad about it. There's something beautiful that your heart was so big that you were like, I'm going to take on this huge thing that's way bigger than I am, and I'm going to sacrifice. There is a certain level, and I'm not here to promote martyrism because I don't believe in that.
Me too.
I'm over it, guys. I'm over it. I've done my service. I'm here to have fun and create, but a lot of the earlier work that I did before was clearing my lineage as well, and I felt like a house cleaner that was scrubbing the walls of my lineage. And just like cleaning a lot of that stuff up as a Starseed.
Absolutely.
It's dirty work, people. It's dirty work.
Exactly. And, we also, I noticed to a lot of Starseeds, like specific cultures, family lines that we incarnate to are to bring in a lot of like evolution, like I chose a Middle Eastern, very religious family that I came into to shake it up. As a woman too, a lot of us who, and Starseeds, male and female, are bringing the feminine energy. That's the return of the divine feminine. This patriarchal society on Earth that's destroyed the planet. A lot of Starseed volunteers have come to see the divine feminine energy. And I that call resonates with me.
I can see that.
And I mean, we can do. That'll be a whole other episode, right? And one story I came across, very interesting. This is actually Dolores Cannon's work, and she said that the first wave of Starseeds arrived in the 1940s in response to the atomic bomb being dropped, because that was like a signal to the rest of the universe, like, oh, this planet be crazy, you gotta come in now. And so they came in. And also that's a threat to the universe, the nuclear weapons that man that's
Mm-hmm.
controlled by darker forces, and then by reptilians, which
Mm-hmm.
another episode we'll talk about, or
Mm-hmm.
the darker entities in the
Oh
planet.
yeah,
So
let's talk about that because I got a lot to say.
yeah, exactly, that have definitely messed with Gaia, because we know how
Mm-hmm.
divine and the
Mm-hmm.
divinity that Gaia is. And so that was a threat, and so that's why Starseed started to come in on
Mm-hmm.
missions. There's one theory that the asteroid belt between like Mars and Jupiter was the planet that, like us, that we destroyed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
by our own like nuclear craziness.
Mm.
That's interesting beeping we're
I
hearing.
know. It's like, yeah, it's
That
confirmation.
was the confirmation. So with that said, then they started so Starseed started arriving in missions and missions.
They're like,
There's
hurry, get down
yeah,
there.
like this comet that came in like the 80s, to brought them in the 70s, like the age of Aquarius,
Mhm.
like so many. And then we have crystal children now, like, so we
Mhm.
all came in. So that's a theory too, because like after that we were like, okay, come in, like Earth needs your assistance. So
Mhm.
we're the ETs that have come here to
Mhm.
save the planet. We're the superheroes. And I got
That's
chills as
true.
I said that, because I just reminded myself of that right now, Starseeds, like, so
Starseeds
ridiculous.
activate.
Yeah, Starseeds activate, right?
Activate.
That's it. Just like whatever that looks like. We're here to heal, to inspire others, live whatever purpose that is, fun, joy, creative artists, like you name it. You're spreading your
Mhm.
light in the
I
things that
love
you like
it.
to do. That's why it's important to do what you
Passion.
do.
Passion is
Passion.
important. And I feel like so much of the
Yeah.
earlier part of my life was really working through the rough stuff, like
Yeah.
scrubbing it down, sanding it down, working it out, churning it out, going through the darkness so I could get back to the light. And so I want to tell people, like, when you go through the spell of darkness, come back, come back.
Yeah.
We need you. It's all romantic and beautiful. The dark is so romantic and it has so much allure, but honestly, they can't give you anything that you can't give yourself. And
Absolutely.
you are a superhero. You don't actually need, and that's the lie we've been told, is that we need to be codependent on another, whatever you want to call it, tier, and that they're the gatekeepers. And that's such bullshit. Find your way. Find your way. We don't need that. So many people get destroyed, and some star seeds expire early because they get so destroyed by what happens that actually their original soul leaves, and then another walk-in comes in or something like that, because you can only take so much trauma. You can only
Right.
take so much until you can no longer be of service. Now you're just another destroyed human being.
For sure. And, I've talked with so many other healers too, and this has come up. Many star seeds were very suicidal growing up, or
Mm-hmm.
still have that, just because this planet is extremely offensive to the
Mm-hmm.
energy, to the vibration. And I'm not saying that in any way to justify or promote anything. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, like, a lot of star seeds work through in their youth, because of the lack of like belonging, lots of like
Mm-hmm.
depression,
Yeah.
and other, there's entities and forces that kind of push them into that edge
Mm-hmm.
to get them off their mission, to get them to like
Mm-hmm.
kill themselves. Like, this is serious stuff.
It
But this
is.
is
It's
real,
spiritual warfare,
Yeah,
people.
there's
So
spiritual warfare. And then think of the spiritual warfare on top of like the EMF warfare, the chemtrail
mhm.
warfare, the emotional, the
The
programming,
food warfare, the
the
water
food
warfare,
warfare. Exactly. So,
the anti-love warfare.
yes, exactly. Oh man, just expression of self, identity, of
Yeah.
sexuality, um,
Mm-hmm.
so much, And so,
Yeah.
but that's why being yourself is always the answer, because you are here to be
Mm-hmm.
yourself. That's part of the Starseed awakening, because
Yeah.
we're here to further along everyone else's awakening and
Mm-hmm.
the planet's ascension as well, right? So, how are you going to do that when you lose sight of your true self, your own
Mm-hmm.
self-love, and you're trying to mimic what the powers that be are programming you to be and act like?
No,
You know?
don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not cool. It's
Yeah.
not cute. It's not original.
Mm-hmm.
All the darkness has already been played out. So if you think you're bringing something new, like I'm the new darkness, like please, it's all been done before. I mean, it's all been
Yeah.
done before. Like you can't outdo it. It's already been done. I mean, and so there's nothing new. What's new? You want to know what's new? Being yourself, being quirky,
Yes.
being vulnerable, being silly, being shitty, and still loving yourself. Like realizing you don't have to be perfect. No one's perfect. And I really think that's so important, because Starseeds put so much pressure on themselves to be perfect, and that's just not possible. Like, we are perfect.
Right.
We're perfectly imperfect, and that's why being a human is a really weird, quirky thing, you know?
For sure. And like, one thing that would always trigger me is people who like worship celebrities and call them stars. Like, those are stars. If they're stars, what are we? But we're peasants, like we are all stars,
Yes,
stars.
we're
Like,
star beings. Hello, I
yeah,
got stars in my DNA right here.
but there's this separation, like this
Mhm.
worship. People think the highest level of society is these people who are on the Oscars. Those are the stars. These are the
Well,
people who get stars on the Walk of Fame. No, these people are doing some dark shit, and that's why they're stars. But
but they're also heavily programmed, and they're not really themselves.
exactly.
And these are
Hmm.
people who have been tortured, abused, sexually used and abused in ways you can't even fathom. They've had to make sacrifices you can't even fathom. They've actually lost so many soul fragments. It's very
Yeah.
questionable if the original person is still even there. They
Hmm.
are, and then on top of that, they're shot in their chakras with entities, um, because they have to go through mind control programs.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a celebrity, get ready to be used, abused. If you don't mind being raped, and also being completely reprogrammed to delete your original self and to never know who
Hmm.
you are, go ahead. You're free to do so. But it's also very silly to be worshiping these people,
Yeah.
because they're not even themselves. So why would you worship somebody who's not even their true self? That's ridiculous,
Absolutely.
you know?
That's why it's like there's so much importance that I place on the return to the self. Seeing you're the star.
You
You're the
are the
Starseed.
star.
You are the star
Mhm,
in this movie that we're in, your
mhm.
own movie, but also
Yes.
all the other beings that are watching you live
Mhm.
your mission on Earth.
Yeah, that's a great illusion, is that there's stars over here, and
Yeah.
then there's nothing over here. The truth
Mhm.
is, that's bullshit. Boom. You just got brainwashed. Now
Yeah.
you just got, woke. So
Yeah, you just got woke.
you just got woke. Like, you are the star. We're
Mhm.
all stars, every single one of us. And it's our job to galactivate and awaken ourselves and awaken each other. By
Right.
awakening ourselves, we become activators. So I activate people through goddess activations, but I also activate people positive and negative polarities, because some people
Mm.
react to me very negatively, and they're like, you know, like it can actually turn people off. But I'm like, it activates something inside of people. So both activations are positive and negative.
Yes.
And sometimes even the negative, it's so that because they have to get a mirroring effect, and they get to see themselves, and then they get to heal, and then they usually come back, so there is that mirroring effect. We're actually like star seeds. Your light acts like a mirror sometimes, and it starts to illuminate on people in a way that they can feel really, really, really good, or they can feel
Mhm.
really, 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 really bad. But it's not
Yes.
because you're doing anything. It's just because of who you are, and your light actually helps stuff surface, right, Susan?
Mhm.
Like that. That's
Yes,
a trigger. I mean, it's not
for
about doing
sure.
anything or trying to put somebody down. It's just like, you can walk into a room and some people be like, oh, like, no. And some people are like, yes, right?
Yeah, I mean, your light is transmuting their darkness. It's
Mhm.
beginning to have their process of like unraveling ego. It's so many different things. So don't take
Mhm.
that personal, when
Yeah.
that's happening. And the star seed is hardwired to expand other people's consciousness, right? And
Mhm.
that, like when you're expanding your consciousness, it's like dark night of the soul. It's
Mhm.
not all fun and love and light. You're transmuting, you're doing shadow work, okay? And so
Mhm.
we can bring that out in other people who maybe they don't know that their clock is going off. And so when people are forced to look at themselves and you're
Mhm.
the activator, they're gonna blame you. They're not gonna like that. But
Sorry.
sorry, yeah, exactly, like welcome to Earth. I
Yeah.
guess. um yeah, and one thing that's really cool about star seeds is, one, they shift consciousness, frequency, vibration quickly. Once
Mhm.
activated, it doesn't take them a very long time to expand, to grow in awareness. They kind of drop in because they've been awakened
Mhm.
before. They've gone through other even ascension cycles
Mhm.
before on other planets,
Shivers,
you know?
shivers.
Yes, it's rapid acceleration and evolution in emotional work, spiritual work, you
Mhm.
name it. So you could see like when, you know, people ask me like, how old are you, you know, if because I'm not like 80 and doing the work that I do, it's like,
Mhm.
whoa, that doesn't matter at all. That has nothing to do, you know, we drop into the role we're supposed.
Yes.
So, you know, really to say age doesn't matter. If you're very young
Mhm.
and you're an activator and an energy worker, or you're older, that's beautiful and that's awesome that you've been doing
Mhm.
that your whole life. But, you know, we have to remember like to honor everyone's levels and their pace, and, you know, not disrespect where someone is on their starseed
Mhm.
awakening journey, because everyone has programmed the exact time they're going to wake up. Now,
Mhm.
you know,
It's perfect in divine
yeah,
timing, and I want to
exactly.
reiterate that, like,
Hmm.
it really, at the end of the day, you know, there is no
Hmm.
wrong or right, because whatever we go through, we'll have to learn from, no matter what we do. We'll always have to be on the flip side of that equation.
Yes.
So that there is no wrong or right. Everything that we do, we'll have to experience it ourselves.
Hmm.
So we're just going through this process, and it's a perfect time to just awaken your inner starseed.
Yes, it is. And you know, starseeds identify as being older souls. So,
Mhm.
you know, if you ever have, if people, you know, if you're watching this and you're like, have been told you're an old soul, or people can see like wisdom in you or something, like that's there. And, you know, you're here to remember, seed your light, your consciousness, your awareness,
Mm.
your wisdom, your vibration. Another thing, characteristic of starseeds, is they're also here to pave new pathways.
Mhm.
They're very much innovators.
Mhm.
Um, like I said, bringing new healing modalities. But, you know, like this millennial generation is here to advance things too. And people look at them like, hey, what are you doing crazy? But it's like,
Mhm.
hey, social media has awakened a lot of people.
Mhm.
We have amazing technology like this that we're doing, where we can spread our
Mhm.
light this way. So it's all part of the mission. So that's what's really cool. Like these new technologies, as many of them that are here that like harm us, they're here to also help. And so think about the people who invented these technologies too, right? Um, you know, and also one thing I wanted to mention too quickly, when we talked about celebrities, a lot of
Mhm.
celebrities who've gone through a lot of like, you know, the trauma and stuff to be where they
Mhm.
are, they still can have whatever fragment piece is there,
Mhm.
you know, have awakenings. So what if they're like
Oh
secretly
yeah,
awake and doing, you know, doing
it's
light work, or, you know,
true.
they're not all like, you know, there's some who are have this high consciousness and they're trying to do their secret light work. So that's really
Mhm.
cool.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to like put
Hmm.
them down. I guess I was just really trying to highlight that it's a really painful process,
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
and that, you know, I mean, the truth is, like, I've actually worked in studio lots with celebrities, and it's intense, and I have so much compassion, so please don't take that the wrong way. I was
Yeah.
definitely not trying to put anyone down. I'm just saying, like, it's hardcore.
Well, you know,
And
you've been on the
mhm,
inside, so you know. So
yeah.
that was so important to show that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's about compassion.
Hmm.
It's never about judgment. You know, people have told me everything, and I've seen a lot. So I don't come up from a place of judgment. I'm just saying,
Hmm.
hey, like, we're really at the edge of glory.
Hmm.
So we need to make that quantum leap. Let's
Yes.
just do that. Let's just not do all this other stuff that's already been done before. People have already gone in and done what they needed to do, you know. Like, a lot of people have, like, the stars and the celebrities that have gone in, and they are secret light workers, like, they're
Yeah.
in there doing the work. Let them do it. But, you know,
Hmm.
you don't have to join that cause. You can create your own light and your own healing and your own shift and change and your own influence without having to go down that dark road.
Absolutely. And that's what's so important. And so that brings me to the point of like, we're so spread out, Starseeds, in so many different industries. So you have people doing their secret or not so secret light work in
Mm-hmm.
the medical industry, the game changers who are like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, you know what? Pharmaceuticals are bad. Let's
Mm-hmm.
become natural healers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you, like even in law, where it's like, I don't want to take away people's rights or promote these
Mm-hmm.
old government systems. You know, I want to fight for humanity. And so then in the celebrity world, this film industry is super dark, but maybe some people create movies that plant light, music
Yes.
too. So that's what's so cool about all of us starseeds who are in different career paths,
Mm-hmm.
in different missions, because everything on this planet really is fucking dark. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here to bring light to it. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
so
true. It's so
all those different
beautiful.
industries. So,
Well said.
yeah, like there's definitely a higher light quotient here. I agree with that, but it's because we've had to come here on these rescue
Mm-hmm.
missions,
Yeah, it's
to
true.
help each other out.
Mm-hmm.
For further along the process, the evolution, to bring
Mm-hmm.
us closer to that tipping point of ascension, if you
Mm-hmm.
want to call it that, of a new earth, of just bringing
Mm-hmm.
in 5D energy here.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that, and I think that's really what I'm trying to say is that
Mhm.
you can do it on your own unique way. Like there's YouTube, like there's so many different
Yeah,
outlets now where you can really create as a creator. Because I'm a creatress. I have a
mhm,
background in
you are.
filmmaking, producing, acting, and I used to be a model. So I might want to go back to my filmmaking roots and do documentaries. If I
Mhm.
can, I want to do whatever is going to be in the highest and best good for all, and that's why I'm also creating this book, Starseed Awakening. It's a collective series because I want people's voices to be heard. I want to
Yeah.
get stories out to the world where there's an impact, where people are reading stories and then they can relate, because some people might not relate to my story, they might relate to your story, or they might relate to our a
Mhm.
member of our audience's story. Like
Yeah.
everyone is going to have a different soul signature, and it's going to vibrate, and we have our own tribe. So what I think that's really cool, and that's where I want to go, is doing more collaborative, like doing interviews or doing the book collaborations where people can hop on. So guys, if you have a Starseed story to share, please reach out to me. And I created Rada Publishing so that I can help your voice go out into the
Mhm.
world.
It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
for that. Like that's a way to give a platform for other people to share their light. I'm just so grateful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
joy. And thank you
Mhm.
for your incredible work that you do. I love
Oh, thank you.
quantum sphere healing, and I love you as a human, as a
Mm.
starseed. And Susan is such an incredible healer, you guys. So if you haven't tried this modality called quantum sphere healing, please give Susan a call, or I'll put her link below, but it's
Mhm.
worth trying. You'll love it.
Oh, thank you. I
Mhm.
love doing the work, and we do a lot of focus on emotional issues, even physical issues that we're transmuting. But if you are looking for a chance to really remember more of your galactic roots through past lives, through the different dimensions that I'm able to look into, the different timelines, I definitely attract the Starseed clientele, but also people who've never had healing work done before, energy work,
Mhm.
and then that sparks. And so
Mhm.
I definitely associate my work with mission mode, right? Like
Mhm.
I love doing it. And so I wanted to say that if there is something you love doing, viewers, like that's part of your mission. It might not
Mhm.
look like energy work, but if you love to paint, if you love
Mhm.
to write, um, anything you create is encoded with your
Mhm.
Starseed Galactic DNA light. Okay.
Mhm.
So remember that even if you're a singer, like you're singing out voice codes.
Mhm. It's
So
so true.
mhm,
Everything, even this transmission between us,
yeah,
this is an alchemized activation, because
absolutely.
Susan and I talking, and it's interweaving, and just our voices, we are activating those who are listening. So if you'd like to receive that activation, just say yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh yes.
It's time, people. Anyways, thank you so much for coming on. I know
Yes,
we have
thank
so much
you.
more to talk about, and come join us again. We'll talk about ETs. In the meantime, thank you guys for joining us. We love you so much. That's why we create
Thank
these
you.
shows, and we're sending you so much love.
Yes.
Mwah.